A kind act by Aisha completely changed her life. By helping a stranger, she not only received a great career opportunity but also became an inspiration for the entire community. This story proves that kindness is always rewarded, even in ways you would never expect. Washington, D.C. at night, the streets shimmering with lights, crowds of people bustling about. In a luxurious restaurant located in the heart of the city, Aisha Carter, a black waitress in her 30s, hurriedly moved between tables, serving customers with a warm smile. Aisha was born and raised in a working-class family in Southeast D.C., a place where opportunities for advancement were not always readily available. Her mother was a nurse, and her father worked as a construction worker. Both worked hard to support her education. But life doesn't always go as planned, and Aisha had to drop out of college to work and make ends meet after her mother fell ill. Despite the hardships, she never lost her kindness. She believed that no matter how harsh the circumstances, a smile or a kind gesture could make the world a little better. That's why, even though her job wasn't easy, she always served customers with care and dedication. Working in one of Washington, D.C.'s finest restaurants, Aisha knew she had to maintain a professional attitude. Not all customers were easygoing, some were arrogant, others didn't even acknowledge the waitstaff like her. But Aisha was always patient, because she believed that everyone had their own story. Her coworkers often complained about the way the restaurant was run, where the higher-ups cared more about revenue than the people. But Aisha accepted this reality, as, for her, this job was a means to support herself and help her family. That evening was especially busy, and Aisha had been working non-stop since the beginning of her shift, without a chance to rest. But she didn't let the exhaustion show on her face. For Aisha, every shift was an opportunity to create something positive, even if it was just a kind word or an understanding look. While clearing a table, Aisha noticed a tall man walking in. He was dressed simply, not standing out among the wealthy customers who frequented the restaurant. But immediately, she recognized his muscular build, broad shoulders, and familiar face. It was Shaquille O'Neal, the NBA basketball legend. Shaq was alone and seemed to be looking for a quiet spot. Aisha was slightly surprised but didn't show her surprise. She just smiled and walked over, as she did with every customer. "Good evening, sir. What would you like to have tonight?" Shaq looked up, his eyes a bit tired but still gleaming with friendliness. What Aisha didn't know was that this would be the meeting that would completely change her life. Aisha quickly led Shaquille O'Neal to a quiet table in the corner of the restaurant. Although she had served many famous figures, this was the first time she had encountered a basketball legend in person. She could sense that Shaq wasn't just here to enjoy a good meal, there was something in his thoughtful gaze, as though he was deep in thought. "Can I get you anything?" Aisha asked gently, her tone not too curious but enough to show her concern. Shaq slowly glanced through the menu, then smiled faintly. "Just a simple meal, nothing too fancy." Aisha nodded and didn't ask further. She understood that sometimes customers just wanted to be served quietly, without being disturbed by curiosity or fan enthusiasm. When she brought out the meal, Aisha noticed that Shaq seemed uninterested in the food in front of him. He sat there, staring at his plate for a long while before starting to eat slowly. A feeling told Aisha that today might not be a good day for him. But she didn't ask anything. She simply served with as much care and sincerity as possible. Meanwhile, a few other customers in the restaurant began to notice Shaq's presence. Some whispered, others looked at him with curious eyes. But Shaq seemed indifferent. When the meal ended, Shaq took out a credit card to pay. After a moment, Aisha saw the cashier shake their head and say something to him. The card was declined. Shaq frowned, looking surprised. He checked his wallet, fumbled around for a while, then tried another card. But the result was the same. A heavy silence filled the air. some nearby customers started to glance over. Even though Shaq was a wealthy basketball legend, at that moment, he looked a bit embarrassed. Without hesitation, Aisha gently walked to the cashier, took out her own wallet, and quietly paid his bill. When Shaq realized what had happened, he looked at her with a surprised expression. "You didn't have to do that." Shaq's voice was warm but a bit embarrassed. Aisha just smiled. "You can pay me back another day. Or better yet, help someone else when they need it." She didn't say anything else, simply cleared the table and continued with her work. Shaq stared at Aisha for a long while, then chuckled softly. "Don't you recognize me?" Aisha raised an eyebrow, pretending not to know. "I do recognize you. You're Shaquille O'Neal. But today, you're just a regular customer who needed a little help, that's all." For the first time that evening, Shaq laughed heartily. Perhaps it had been a long time since he met someone who didn't treat him like a superstar. No rushing for photos or autographs, just a simple person helping another. But Aisha had no idea that this small act of kindness would change her life forever. The next morning, Aisha received a call from the restaurant manager. Her tone was gentle, but Aisha could feel the seriousness in it. "Aisha, I need to talk to you for a moment. You did something last night that we can't overlook." Aisha felt a wave of anxiety. She didn't know exactly what had happened, but from the way the manager spoke, she sensed that this wasn't good news. When she arrived at the manager's office, she was informed that her act of paying for Shaquille O'Neal's meal had violated the restaurant's security protocols. According to the restaurant's policy, employees were not allowed to pay for customers without proper verification, no matter who the customer was. Such actions could pose significant financial security risks, and they couldn't turn a blind eye to it. Aisha felt deflated. She never thought that her simple act of kindness could lead to such consequences. She had done it out of the goodness of her heart, never considering that helping someone in need might go against the restaurant's rules. Even though she explained that she just wanted to help Shaquille, that her actions were purely due to an unexpected situation, the manager still decided that Aisha would have to leave her job. "Do you understand? A rule is a rule. We can't have decisions like this affecting the company," the manager said, her gaze cold. Aisha stood still, her heart sinking. She had worked so hard for so many years at this restaurant. It wasn't just a job, it was her pride. Yet, she knew there was nothing she could change. Although she felt sad, Aisha remained calm. She didn't want to show anger or disappointment in front of the manager. As she left the office, Aisha silently walked through the various areas of the restaurant, feeling as though she was leaving a part of her life behind. She had hoped this job would be her ticket out of poverty, but now it had become a bitter end. That night, Aisha returned home and sat alone in her dark room. She reflected on everything she had done over the years, the long hours of hard work, the dreams of a brighter future, and now, it all seemed to be collapsing. But one thought in her mind wouldn't fade: kindness is never wrong. Despite losing her job, Aisha didn't regret helping Shaquille. She thought of the good she could bring to others, even through small acts, and it gave her a sense of peace. However, she couldn't help but wonder if there was another opportunity for her. An opportunity that wasn't just about money, but one that would allow her to show kindness and do what was right. And in that moment, she had no idea that an unexpected event would soon change her life forever. A new opportunity was gradually beginning to take shape. Just a few days after being fired, Aisha received a call she never expected. A man introduced himself as Shaquille O'Neal's manager. "Hello, Aisha. I'm Brian, Shaquille O'Neal's manager. Shaq told me about your kind act that night. He is very grateful and wants to help you." Aisha was stunned, feeling like she couldn't believe her ears. Shaquille O'Neal, the person she had helped during his moment of need, now wanted to help her? It felt like a dream. Brian continued, "Shaq wants you to accept an offer to work at his newly opened hotel, the Windsor Hotel. He believes you'll be a great employee there, and he wants to make sure you don't have to struggle financially anymore." Aisha couldn't express her emotions in that moment. She knew this was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. But at the same time, she felt a bit overwhelmed, unsure if she could really believe that such a small act could lead her to such a big turning point. Aisha decided to meet with Brian to discuss the new job. During the meeting, Shaquille O'Neal was also present, and he couldn't stop praising her kindness. He shared that throughout his career, he had met many people, but Aisha was one of the rare individuals who had a genuine, true heart. After the conversation, Aisha was hired to work at the Windsor Hotel, a luxury hotel where celebrities and important figures frequently visited. This was a job she had never dared to dream of, not just because of the great income, but also the professional environment and the career growth opportunities. On her first day working at the Windsor Hotel, Aisha was amazed at how lavish it was, completely different from the restaurant where she had worked before. However, the familiar feeling of the work soon helped her integrate. She continued to work with the same attentive and dedicated spirit, always listening to and serving the guests with sincere care. With her hard work and dedication, Aisha earned the respect of her superiors and colleagues. Not long after, she received several opportunities for promotion, from becoming a key employee in the service department to managing a team of hotel staff. Her efforts were rewarded with steady career advancements. Most importantly, Aisha realized that kindness truly can change lives. She understood that, even though things may not have gone as planned initially, kindness would always find its way. Her small act not only brought her a career opportunity but also helped her build a strong and valuable network of relationships, leading to significant turning points in her life. On a special occasion, Shaquille O'Neal hosted a party at the Windsor Hotel to honor outstanding employees, and Aisha was invited. At the party, Shaq took the stage and said something that surprised everyone present. "Aisha is not only a wonderful employee, but she also has a big heart. She helped me when I needed it the most, and her kindness opened up this opportunity for both of us." That tribute was not just recognition, but also a reminder that in life, when we do the right thing, all the struggles and challenges will eventually find a way to bring good fortune back to us. And for Aisha, that was the moment that confirmed that kindness, even in the smallest acts, can ultimately change a life. With a stable job at the Windsor Hotel and continuous career growth, Aisha not only earned the respect of her colleagues but also became an inspiration to many. Her stories of kindness were shared widely, not just within the service industry, but beyond, resonating with society at large. Aisha became a symbol of someone who could change her destiny with a simple act of kindness. She began attending workshops on kindness and compassion, sharing her story with young people, especially those working in the service industry. Aisha not only inspired others but also encouraged them to believe that no matter how difficult life gets, we can still do good things because kindness holds timeless value. Aisha never forgot the hard times she had gone through. She always remembered the struggles to make ends meet and the people who had helped her when she needed it most. Therefore, Aisha decided to start a project to help those facing hardships, particularly young people with potential but lacking opportunities. She created a scholarship fund in her name to support talented but financially disadvantaged students, helping them access education and career opportunities in the hospitality and service industries. Aisha also organized training programs and shared her experiences with those who wanted to join the service industry, especially those in difficult circumstances, just as she once was. Aisha's project didn't stop there. Shaquille O'Neal, the person who had changed her life, not only helped her secure a job at the Windsor Hotel but also continued to support her in the next steps of her journey. Shaq, with his vast influence, helped Aisha access additional resources to grow her charitable programs. He participated in many fundraising events and frequently invited Aisha to join community programs he organized. Together, they worked on building a program to support young talent in sports and other industries, giving them opportunities to thrive in a professional environment. These efforts not only assisted young people but also helped strengthen the community, sending a powerful message about the power of kindness and collaboration. Aisha's life had completely transformed from a small, unexpected act of kindness. She had learned that sometimes, goodness isn't immediately rewarded, but it brings lasting value. She understood that kindness can be the key to unlocking opportunities, creating unexpected connections, and sometimes marking a crucial turning point in someone's life. Aisha also realized that no one can go through life alone. Everyone needs the support of the community, and it's those lasting relationships that help us overcome all challenges. She reminded herself that no matter how tough life gets, it's important to always live with an open heart and be ready to help others, because that simple act might just change someone's fate, and even our own. Aisha's story became a source of encouragement for countless people. Her actions proved that in a world full of challenges, kindness is never forgotten. And at some point, the good we do will return to us in ways we never expect. Aisha didn't just enrich her own life, she enriched her soul and the lives of those around her. And no matter where she goes, she will always remember an important lesson in life. Kindness is a timeless value, one that can never be lost.